Hey there, folks. I'm Matt Hansen,
And I'm John Johnson.
and you're listening to
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
the podcast where we discuss favorites we've reread, both classic and new comics we want to read, and everything else in between.
And here's the comic we picked this week.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of
Planes, Trains, and Comic Books.
Today, we are reading Captain America White.
Not because he is white, but just is like it's another one from our kind of our channel's team now. I feel like
Yeah,
this has
one
been
of our favorite creative
Yeah.
teams.
Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale.
Tim Sale. And, you know the art's already good. We don't even
Yeah.
need to say that. I will say that Jeff Loeb is always the iffy one. You know, that's the one I'm always like, are we going to be judgy on him or whatever? Because, generally, these ones have been really good. The Color series by Marvel, or that he did for Marvel, was really good. And then so far, all the ones we've read from DC from him pretty much have been really good. I think Hush was the only one we didn't really like by him.
Yeah, Hush was like the mediocre. It was like
That was our first.
Yeah.
It goes all the way back.
All the way back.
To
Episode
number one, where we talk about Hush. We should revisit that. We should do like a 5-year anniversary or something in a couple of years, and just talk about it again, reread it, and see if we still hate it or like it or whatever. Well, actually, we didn't hate it, but this is a 5. This is the the median, the middle line of the road kind of thing. It's our barometer for for any future comics. So, so this team, we have read a lot of their stuff, and this one was one of the Marvel Color series, like you said. We already read Hulk Gray, Daredevil Yellow, and now this is the next one, which was Captain America White. They're not in order. We're just reading them in whatever order we want. And you were excited about this one because it's Captain America.
Yeah, it's my favorite hero. So
yeah,
I love you say that. You're prompting because we've already talked a little.
Right. Well, I mean, I like Captain America too, but this is your favorite hero, and you were very excited about this because all the other teams have been so good and everything.
Yeah, that too.
So, and have you read more Captain America than pretty much every other kind of comic?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I had all of like from Winter Soldier run all through Civil War, all through his death.
So like the 2000s run.
Yeah.
Okay. Any stuff before that?
Yeah, I've like, and every side story in between there. And I know I had other issues and runs of things that I read of Cap. Cap. When I was younger, my mom got me Spider-Man and Captain America. Like those were the two comics. And like I loved Spider-Man obviously when I was a teenager, but I don't know, something about good old Boy Scout.
Yeah.
Captain America always I don't know.
Nerd. John's a nerd.
I'm just a patriot, man.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one covers. It says issues 0 through 5, so it's 6 issues total. But and this one's weird because it came out in 2007, which is right in the middle of the Brubaker Winter Soldier run, and all the other Color issues. I don't know about the Hulk one, but the ones or all the story arcs that are the Color series by Marvel. Or by them for Marvel, they seem to like tie in to what's going on with current continuity. Like the Daredevil one was all about Daredevil being sad that Karen Page died, which she did in the current run that was going on when they wrote that. So I thought that this would like tie into the Winter Soldier, but it doesn't. In fact, it like kind of ignores the fact that Winter Soldier is around and has come back and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So, and I thought they were going to tie it in because the way that it's kind of written makes you feel like, oh, they could. Yeah. This thing at the end,
it's very similar to the other ones you read. Like this one is Cap writing seemingly letters through all these. That's the like dialogue of this, and he's
like the narration.
Yeah, and he's talking to Bucky, and he's mainly talking about missing Bucky, and how things were. He wished things were different, and so like I was like, oh, this is gonna hit the moment like the big thing happens, and he loses Bucky. And or goes in frozen, and then like he'll wake up, and then like maybe I figured that's where it would cut off. Would be, bam, who is this? The Winter Soldier. He's like, oh my god, Bucky, and I literally thought that,
or maybe not even Bucky, but he's like, I have this new foe, the Winter Soldier, and I wish you were here to help me take him on or something.
Oh yeah,
that would have been cool too. That's not what happens. We will get to but so. It's just a weird, like, why didn't they do that kind of thing? I don't know why. Maybe Jeff Loeb was going for a different feel or something in this one. But we do start off, and this is like one of the things I didn't like about this is Captain America is a secret identity in this, and Steve Rogers himself is in the military. So it's kind of like, how does he get off? Like, if he's in the military and it's a secret identity, how does he get out of doing all the other military stuff that he has to do?
All right, then, platoon, fall in. And Steve,
go over
Rogers, go over there. Yeah.
Yeah. I have to go do something. I can't do PT today or whatever. Like how does he get out of all that stuff? But they show like him watching Captain America shorts or whatever in front of a movie, and everybody's like, "Boo! Get it off the screen," because they're like they think it's an actor or whatever. And Steve is already gigantic and big and everything. And unlike the movies, if you're familiar with the Captain America movie, Bucky is the small kid as opposed to Steve. Steve is never a small person or small like kid in this one. He's just a big hulking super soldier. So he's already had the serum and everything. So it's kind of weird to, having watched the movies and also read the Winter Soldier run, to have Bucky be like the child. Yeah. And Steve be the one that's kind of the, commander guy or whatever.
And it is weird with Bucky. I will say this too, just making me think of, and I know you can think of the movie, especially how small Steve was in that, but it really, like, Bucky comes off as so young and innocent that it almost is weird that he's in the military with him, because like,
well, they even say like he's not able to be in the military.
I know, but I know that's also weird that they like it's all like okay and loud and whatnot.
So I don't know why. I mean, they kind of say like, oh, he proves himself and Cap wants him. Yeah, like that's it. Like we're buddies and whatever. So, but the big like crux and the main reason why they allow Bucky to be his partner is because Bucky discovers that Steve Rogers is Captain America after this movie. So like he goes into Steve's tent without knocking or whatever, and Steve's putting on his Captain America uniform.
So it seems like anybody could have walked in and found this out then.
Yeah, but not only that, like, you would be like, okay,
that's Steve's tent.
Yeah, Steve's tent, and then also like Captain America looks a lot like Steve. You know what I'm saying? Like
same chin,
same voice, same height.
That's true. It's true. You wouldn't change his voice for Captain America, like Batman or something.
I'm Captain America. Like it doesn't make any sense. So yeah, like this one just didn't. I don't know. Like something about it just didn't really feel like Cap to me. Yeah. There was something missing from it, and I don't know. It just didn't. It didn't. I don't know. It didn't ring true or something.
I will agree. We'll get into this, and there are a lot of points that we've already talked a little bit, and there are a lot of points we both really do love about this. Outside of the art too, because again,
right? Yeah, the artist. I mean. Tim Sale is amazing.
Yeah,
and
seriously, I'm gonna own. So when I have money someday, I will own an original piece of his art. But I'm gonna have a print of something here eventually in like the next year or two.
Yes, whenever he
we'll probably do an unboxing of something and like framing it out for the channel. Or something. I'm gonna be so excited.
I need a Catwoman print of her.
I may have looked for birthday stuff. You don't know, but in particular, yeah, like I feel like my main we'll get into it, but like I feel like this comic never finds its Captain America footing, right? Except with the villains.
Yes, the villains I thought were great,
but I feel like Cap is always like other than like when he's fighting, but I feel like when it's like a Cap, like the Captain America like explanation story or like the narrative of it, I feel like it's always like a step
wanting.
Off.
Yeah, it's like not quite. It doesn't feel right. Like something about it's off. And so back to the story of this, Bucky finds out who Cap is, and Cap's like, instead of being like, hey, kid, like, what are you doing on the army base or whatever? Like, he's like, I'll train you to be my little sidekick or whatever. And he gets the government to allow it. And he basically makes, Bucky his sidekick.
His Robin.
His Robin, yeah. So, and, dresses him in the full. I mean, he's parachuting with Captain America. I mean, this is like you said, a 15-year-old kid or whatever. It's not. I don't know I don't know if Bucky had parents or anything, but apparently they didn't give a fuck what he was doing because he's literally parachuting into war zones,
beating up Nazis.
So, that's always fun.
His heart's in the right place, right? I mean, he punching Nazis. So, I mean,
yeah. And he's still a kid, so sometimes he goes and does stupid shit, and Cap has to like kind of talk down to him.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. Like I always thought of them, and I haven't read the 50s stuff or the 40s stuff, so I don't know what they were like originally. Maybe this is why it feels disconnected from the Brubaker run, because this is based on the old run.
I think
the
so.
Original Joe Simon and Kirby stuff.
Because I've read some one-off stories from that, like little short things. Usually where they're helping, and it'll have a lot of that kind of like quippy of like, or not quippy, but like Cap will say something and Buck would be like, "Well, gosh, like we should do this," and he's like, think with your head, kiddo. Like,
yeah.
So that may be part of it, and maybe I am so used to and I found my love and appreciation of Cap within that newer time frame. Not that I love Captain America overall, but I think that maybe we're being a little.
Yeah, we're maybe judging it from eyes that it wasn't meant to be like viewed from or whatever. But still, it came out in 2007, so that's kind of the air it should have been around. Like he should be aware of this is what's going on in current continuity. So if I'm going to release this, maybe I would tie it into that, like he did with the Karen Page Daredevil death, because that still felt like old school Daredevil. He's in the yellow suit and all that stuff, but now. He just tied the Karen Page death into it, and that's why he got the red suit. It just made sense or whatever. And this, I don't know, it never really finds its footing to me, and it just doesn't tie in well with what was going on in 2007 in Marvel. But anyway, we go to issue 1 of this. That was issue 0, where like the introduction of Bucky. Issue 1 is all like Cap wakes up in our modern day after being frozen, and is like, "Oh, what's going on?" And he's like, "Bucky!" So we know something happens to Bucky. We don't know what. But Cap is very like upset and like literally comes out of his frozen state in the hospital yelling Bucky's name in front of all of the a pretty awesome like full page spread of the Avengers, and it's like the old Avengers too, like the original.
Yeah, very classic. Iron Man's got like his pointy helmet.
Yeah,
and it's Wasp, Giant
so it's
Man,
like
and Thor.
it's like Gen 2 of Iron Man or whatever.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah. That was a really good 2-page spread of him waking up,
and I love him being like, "Who the fuck are you guys?" Because like he doesn't know who the Avengers are. Before it was just him, and now he's got all the the Avengers are there, and he's like, "Who? Everybody's got powers and everything." And then also he meets up with current day Nick Fury, he actually knew back in the day as a sergeant that was kind of a dick to him all through like his when he was a soldier in the 40s or whatever. So. And they do like this whole bit about like Nick Fury almost having to pretend to have an eye patch when he sneaks into a base, and then he's like, "I would never wear one of these," and then later on he has to wear an eye patch. Yeah. So like, but we get the introduction of Nick Fury kind of telling him like, "Hey, this is what's going on, and we found you, and Bucky's not here anymore."
And this is old school based comic, so this is also what's his face This is
White Nick Fury.
Yeah, I would say White Nick Fury, but I was Hasselhoff Fury. That's where I was going with it.
Yeah, so not old school. This is non-Ultimate Universe.
Yes.
I mean, I don't think I don't even know actually. Is the regular universe Nick Fury black now?
I don't know. It's true. I haven't.
So for all of you who don't know, in the in the early 2000s, the Ultimate Universe came out in Marvel, and that was like basically a starting from 0 point for a lot of the titles. Like they had new Spider-Man. And it was kind of like they get to tell it with they get to update Spider-Man, his origin story and everything with the modern day kind of thing. And so they would call it the Ultimate line. And it was in a separate universe that didn't have anything to do with the regular Marvel continuity. And so in that, because it was new and everything, they were like, hey, I believe it was Mark Miller who made like Kingsman and Wanted and all that stuff. He was like, in my Ultimates book, which is the Avengers basically, I'm going to make Nick Fury based on Sam Jackson, just for funsies or whatever.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, they ended up using Sam Jackson in the movies because, why not? We already cast him, basically.
Yeah.
And we're using these stories and everything. And so that's where that came from. And then eventually they kind of folded in the Ultimates into the regular line because Miles Morales is part of the continuity now. So I don't know if Nick Fury is currently black in the Marvel Universe, but he used to be white. Or the original incarnation of him was white in the 70s and 80s and 90s. So not that big of a deal, but either way, it's just one looks like David Hasselhoff.
Yeah, and if you don't know, the reason we say Hasselhoff is because there was also a
terrible Nick
Fury movie back in the 80s where David Hasselhoff played him.
Some might say terribly awesome.
Yes,
but yeah. So anyway, Nick Fury talks to him, and then it cuts back to the 40s from current day, and then we get to see like how Nick Fury was back in the day. And
Howling Commandos.
Yeah, with the Howling Commandos, with Dum Dum Dugan and everybody. And they were all in the Captain America movie. So that was the guys that Bucky was in a platoon with, all those other soldiers. I think Dum Dum Dugan has the mustache.
And yeah, he's got the mustache, and he always had like the bowl like hat or helmet thing on.
Yeah. Oh, the bowler hat. That's what he always
bowler
wears.
hat.
Yeah. And yeah, so basically we just get like this weird I thought this was weird. All these soldiers hate Captain America. Now, in the movie, the reason why the soldiers hated Captain America is because at the time they thought he was just an actor or like some, like idiot that wasn't on the front lines.
He was a poster boy that the government was using to sell bonds
propaganda.
and like propaganda stuff.
So, yeah, but in this, he's fighting alongside with them against Nazis, being super and everything, and they still are like, man, fuck that guy. And I don't know why. I don't get why they don't like him so much. Like Dum Dum Dugan really doesn't like him. Nick Fury really doesn't like him. They talk about like Bucky in a bad way too. Like, why is he with this stupid kid and all this kind of stuff? So it just, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. They even come up to him and say like, why are you fighting Nazis? You look like one, basically, like calling him like, are you one of them? Because you got blonde hair and blue eyes, kind of thing. And Dum Dum Dugan's got like red hair and a mustache and everything. So yeah, I don't guess he doesn't look like one. I don't know, but like, it's weird that they like don't like him so much. And like I said, they're going on missions with him and everything. They see him in action and they still don't like him. So basically, they get at the towards the middle of this book, they go on an actual mission with everybody. Like the platoon of Dum Dum Dugan and Nick Fury's guys, like are sent on a mission to. What is it to uncover what Red Skull is doing?
I think so. It's Hitler? Like outside of
Paris. Right?
Paris,
yeah. So they find out that like Hitler and specifically Red Skull, who's like his minion in this, and a bunch of other like bad guys from the original Captain America comic.
Yeah.
Like they're in Paris and they're just trying to basically fuck with France. Like it just seemed like they're just like, we're trying to demoralize the French, basically, and we're going to fuck with the Louvre, and we're going to fuck with the Eiffel Tower, and just screw up all their national monuments and make them feel bad, generally. Yeah. That's kind of like how bad they were in this. That's like, they didn't really do too much bad. Although, I think they mentioned Auschwitz in this once or twice, and so they do mention that's happening, but that's in Poland. That's not in France. So,
not in France, yeah.
They're
just gonna steal some art and mess up that.
Like they say, like, oh, like the French people that are in this are like, oh no, they're gonna use the Mona Lisa above Hitler's kitchen.
Okay,
who gives a fuck? There's people being burned in ovens or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. It seems like the least of our worries. Like, why do we give a fuck? I mean, obviously, culture's great and we care about art and history and all that stuff. But
and we don't want the front line of the Nazis pushing forward. So
sure, but I mean the front line of France is once you take France, that's it. That's stop, right? So they already took it. So
that's true.
So it's like, okay, well, I mean, there's other things that are more important and pressing than the Mona Lisa or whatever. So or the culture of your place or whatever. So, I don't know. That's how I felt, at least. I was like, oh, it seems like a little like that's not the worst thing going on, and that's probably not what we should be focusing on. But it's also like, okay, they're trying to free France of the Nazis. So okay, I get it. We got to like help them out, obviously. But they go on this mission to France, and like once again, Bucky and everybody, they're like ready to jump out of the plane. And as they are, the plane gets hit by something, some kind of missile, not missile, I guess it would be like bullets or whatever. And it explodes, and they all fall into the ocean. And this was one of the parts you said was like weird. And I agree, because they talk about Cap, everybody falls in the ocean, and everybody surfaces except Cap. And
I guess Cap got knocked out or something from the explosion.
Something. But Bucky's like, oh my God, where's Cap? I can't find him. And like, Fury's like, well, I mean, he's super. He'll surface soon or whatever. It's fine. And it turns out that Cap has a shield on his back, And Bucky has to go down and find him and pull him up, to which I was like, where the fuck are they? Where, like, he's just floating on the bottom? This isn't like the middle of the Atlantic where...
They were close to the shore.
Oh, okay, I got you. I don't know about that, because they had to swim for a while.
They were so close to the shore.
So close. But either way, he's able to dive down and get Cap, who's knocked out, but he has to cut off his shield, and he says he has to do that because it's so heavy. But then later on, Dum Dum Dugan picks it up and is like, oh, this isn't as heavy as I thought it was.
Maybe because he's a kid and he can only pick up Captain America and not Cap.
No, but they made it seem like Cap's. Well, I guess, but in the water, it shouldn't fucking matter.
Yeah, I know. It was a little. I was like,
So I don't know. There was just like weird plot points like that, and then later on, after they get to the land, so they get to land, and then as they're walking on the beach, they're like, oh, this is like a weird beach. It kind of fills up with fog, and they can't see anything. And then there's like a big mountain that they have to climb, and they're like, well, how are we going to get there? Or how are we going to get up the mountain? And Cap's like, oh, we'll just climb it. And they're like, well, we're not all super, dumbass. Like, you can't do that. And he's like, well, if only I had my shield, I could like hit the rock with it and give you like handholds.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
literally out of nowhere.
Yes, like a Deus Ex Machina in a Speedo. Namor pops out of the water and is like, hey, here's your shield. And just gives it back to Cap for no reason. They've never met, as far as we know, or anything. You know,
someone makes a coy joke about like, oh, was the Human Torch going to show up next or something?
Yeah,
and that was funny. I was like, okay, that's like a Defenders joke, but like then he literally throws in the shield and then goes back in the water. You don't see him again. He didn't help anymore.
Yeah,
and I was like, I mean, I like cameos. Don't get me wrong, too. Like I'm a sucker.
I just kind of wish there was a thing with it.
But it wasn't like, hey, we helped each other back.
He doesn't even say. Yeah, he doesn't say anything like that. He could say like, hey, I saw some Nazi subs, and when I followed them, I saw your shield, so I figure, I'll give back to you.
You could use it.
I asked one of the fishes where you were at, and they said at the beach. So at least give us something like that. But
he just says, I guess one of his lines. I enjoy Namor, but I don't remember like catchphrases. So I guess it's one of his catchphrases. It was Imperious
Rex, whatever the fuck that.
Whatever that means. Excelsior. Good enough for me.
Whatever Stanley was doing there. Actually, that's a Joe Simon thing, right? Or no. I don't know who wrote Namor back in the day.
I don't remember.
Stanley? I don't fucking know. But either way, once they get up this mountain,
as soon as they get up to the top,
it's almost like a Bugs Bunny cartoon.
It was.
There's just a fucking tank muzzle pointed at them, and it's got like a little swastika emblem, like a car emblem, kind of on the top of it, on the tip of it, like it was aiming at them or something.
Yeah,
it was just like, what is that? Like, why is that there? Kind of thing. It's just weird.
I was fine with this. It was fun.
It's fun. I'll give it that. It just seemed weird, but it fit the art. Like I said, the art is fine in this, and it fits whatever was already going on in the art. But this is where we run into all of the like Nazi villains, except Red Skull and Hitler himself or whatever, that were in the Captain America runs from the past or whatever. So they get captured by these Nazis, and of course Cap is able to fight them all off and like saves everybody's ass. He's got his shield, and they're like, he's able to deflect all the bullets, and
because they only shoot towards the shield.
Of course. Well, where else are you going to shoot? So they're able to beat all these Nazis up, but I thought this was funny. They're like, hey, we should kill him. And they're like, no, we can't do that. We'll just tie him up in the snow to trees. I'm like,
so they're going to die?
So they're going to freeze to death and die of starvation on trees.
Yeah, because they also take their clothes so they can, because they're going to try to
like they have no warm clothes. Yeah. Unless they put their clothes on them, which would be weird. But yeah, like, so they take the Nazi clothes so they can dress up like Nazis and stake across lines.
If they just pull them up from their bootstraps and
from their bootstraps?
From their bootstraps and, just keep their willpower strong, they'll be fine. They'll survive this.
Totally. They'll just
dead
think
winter
of the Fuhrer.
Yeah.
And that'll warm their hearts.
Something
their
like that.
evil hearts. So anyway, Fury and his men are dressed like Nazis, and they're pretending like they have captured Captain America, and they're walking towards the German lines, I guess. And they get stopped by a very attractive,
sultry,
sexy gypsy lady.
Yes,
they call her the gypsy.
They call them gypsies specifically in this. So
I think they're supposed to be because they talk about Hitler's rounding us up, and so that's why I think they mentioned that. And so So of course it's a trap. Like this French lady who is a gypsy is like trying to trick Germans into like going with her, and then they put a trap on her, and then it turns out, hey, we're Americans, we're not these Germans. And then the lady was like, I knew all along. I was just trying to fuck with you, kind of thing. Because, like, I guess she had met the Germans previously and knew what they looked like from that battalion or that platoon or whatever. And so she's like, oh, you're not them. And then we meet the rest of their gang. I don't remember. They're like circus freaks that are a part of a rebellion, against the Nazis. So they're all literally, like, they name themselves, I don't remember what their name. Oh, Cirque de la Revolution.
Yeah.
So Circus of the Revolution. And I guess they're not freaks, but they're like
they
acrobatics or whatever. So
yeah, the one is the leaper, obviously Bartok.
Yeah.
And then her name ends up is a Miss Madeline or Miss Marilyn, pardon me.
Marilyn, yeah.
Marilyn.
And so yeah, they I don't know. They don't get along with Cap at first. She seems to not like him a lot. They argue a bunch, but then Bucky's like, she totally got the hot for you.
Yeah, when they're separated later, and Bucky's like, oh man, that's how you know a girl likes you is when she's mean to you.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
I mean, he would know. He's in high school. Right?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Cap
so
should
then
definitely trust him.
I liked this part. Like, so we end this issue with Cap being like, they're in the sewers and they're sneaking into France because they're with the freedom fighters. And the freedom fighters are like, oh, like there's some rally that's going on and there's a bunch of Nazis there. And Cap's like, oh, let me just like go up to this sewer grate and peek my head up and see what's going on. And he does that and he just sees like a giant mass of Nazis, and he just happens to be right in the middle. Like, luckily none of the other people were standing there when he puts his head through. And it's so obvious, like literally Red Skull will be looking directly at him.
Oh yeah.
And see his eyes in the sewer grate or whatever. So
it kind of made me feel like Indiana Jones.
It totally is.
Where he turns the corner and it's literally do
yes,
like just everywhere,
just Nazis everywhere. But yeah, he sees the Red Skull and all the bad guys. I really like the way Jeff Loeb draws the Red Skull. It just seems really creepy and eerie and fucked up and everything.
Very.
So, yeah, he's very cool.
It almost looks like
I don't mean that in like a Nazi way. Like he's a very well drawn.
No, just he's cool looking as a bad guy in this, and it's like his skull is like obviously it's a skull shape, but it's also like kind of looks like rotty flesh a little too, and the way he draws the contours and the lines of the flesh moving on his like basically bone skull is really cool looking.
Yeah. So Cap goes back down and he's like. Well, at first he's like, oh, I want to go just like burst out and start fighting Red Skull because he's right there. Even though there's like 400,000 Nazis right there, like in the same square. And what's her name? Marilyn is like, oh, no, you can't do that. And she like uses her scarves to like pull him down or something. I didn't quite get how she did that. But like she wraps him up and pulls him down and does not let him go. And is saying like, no, you can't do that. We have like a plan and you got to follow our plan. So, they go to a church where they're all kind of like meeting up and like talking about the plan that they want to do. And the plan is revolving around the Louvre. They want to stop the Nazis from stealing all the artwork and all that stuff. And also, was there other parts to it?
Stealing that, and then also like figuring out like what their plan is. I guess where the Red Skull is planning on like going with things here.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Marilyn and Cap are in a room together because Cap's like, hey, I got my shield. Bucky cut the arm strap, so I need you, like when he was saving him from the water. So he's like, hey, I need you, or would you mind fixing?
You're seamstress, right?
Yeah.
Because you're a gypsy.
Yeah.
So, like, can you fix this for me?
Yeah. And, of course, it just happens that they're in a room with a closed door. And Bucky starts creeping. He's like peeping through the keyhole at like, ooh, what's going to happen? Are they going to make out or more or whatever? I don't know. He gets like really weird. And then this weird thing happens where Cap and her hear a noise and Cap opens the door. And I guess, does the door hit him?
I think the door handle hits Bucky in the eye.
Okay, I thought literally Cap punched him in the face at first because Bucky has a black eye after this. But I guess it's literally a doorknob hit him in the face.
Yes.
Which is the
He's looking through the door, and then Cap, rushes it real fast, so he's barely able to move, and so I guess the doorknob hits him in the eye.
Okay, so yeah, Bucky is like getting hit in the eye, and he's like on the ground, and Cap is pissed, and this is very weird.
He calls him James. He doesn't call him. This is the first time he calls him his actual name.
It's like when your mom's mad at you, and she says your full name with your middle name and everything.
Yeah. Like, oh God, I know I'm in trouble. Yeah,
I am fucked.
Well, it's weird because so one thing we didn't mention overall is that Bucky is obviously he's worried. He wants to live up to the potential of being Cap Psychic, and it's am I not worthy, but am I good? Like we're equals, right? Right, and that's the way Cap always puts it. Is like, yeah, no, like we're in this together. I've got your back.
Yeah, we're buds.
Blah blah blah. But then, once or twice where he's had to be like, hey,
yeah, he's got to talk down to him because he's still a kid and he still fucks up sometimes, and so there's obviously they're not obviously equal because Cap's an adult and he's not. So
and for some reason, this accidental slip of the doorknob hitting him because Cap rushes the door puts the worst Cap doesn't trust me anymore, and I can't believe he did that,
and not only that, I have to prove myself, so I'm gonna fight Red Skull by myself.
It was just so weird. It was and maybe I'm not thinking from a kid's perspective, but it's it wasn't even Cap. He just opened the door real quick.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. He didn't know it was him, so you think you're just what are you doing, peeping in me in a room with a woman? You know what I mean? That'd be weird. Obviously, don't do that. But I don't know. Bucky seemed way too offended and hurt by what happened. So, but anyway, they get a plan. Because Red Skull is I guess set up at the Eiffel Tower, that's where their main headquarters are or something.
I think so, and I think he's talking about maybe he's gonna blow it up to
right, we said they're trying to destroy all the monuments and stuff.
Yeah, they're you said they're gonna basically make the people of France afraid and bring them to their knees or whatever.
Yeah,
to I guess be obedient within the control,
subjugate them.
Yes, and then Baron von Strucker, is he's there too. He's the obviously one of their big Cap villains, and he is going to be either taking and stealing or taking and destroying all the cultural stuff in the Louvre.
Yeah, so that's what we're saying. Hitler, he's Hitler's gonna put the Mona Lisa above his kitchen. I'm oh no,
how horrible.
Yeah, okay, that ugly lady is gonna get some grease on her face. That's all I know. But yeah, so that's the main thing, and then also we get the big twist with the French guys, the rebellion, is as they get to the Louvre to do their plan. And so we should also say that Cap and his buddies or his soldiers go off to the Eiffel Tower, and then
they go to the Louvre.
Oh, they all go to the Louvre?
Yeah.
Okay, after that, then the Cap goes to the Louvre.
Yeah, then Cap goes to because he realizes where because they're getting ready to do this. He's where's Bucky?
That's right. Bucky goes on his own to get Red Skull.
And they're oh, Red Skull's at the Eiffel Tower because he's talking about blowing it.
Right. So while they get to the Louvre, the rebellion, or the rebels, and all of a sudden the Nazis are there, and they're well, how do you know? And it turns out, fucking Bartok, the other
Bartok the Leaper.
The Leaper is evil. He's a traitor. He's a double crosser.
You couldn't have guessed that from his mustache.
Yeah, he's got a fucking twirly ass mustache. I knew right away. I was he's bad. They put circles around his eyes and everything too. He looks evil. It's kind of like in the Anastasia cartoon.
Oh.
You're well, obviously Rasputin is evil because he's got super sunken eyes. Even Jafar.
Yeah.
You're oh, he's totally evil. He's got that beard. That
beard, the little curly Q.
Yes, exactly. So yeah, like we said, they get kind of apprehended by the Nazis, and then Cap goes to get Bucky, who went on his own to get Red Skull. So Cap arrives at the Eiffel Tower and calls out Red Skull basically, and then finds out that Bucky has been captured by Red Skull, and he's got him tied up with all this dynamite and everything. And he's I'm gonna kill your sidekick.
I liked it. I mean the way I like the Red Skull here has him like you said, has him wrapped up with I guess dynamite string and stuff, and It was cool. It was very much.
Yeah, I looked at it. I'm like, it looks great graphically. I have no idea what he's actually wrapped up in.
I didn't know if it was that or barbed wire because it did look like.
It kind of looks like both. It looks like he's got bombs and he's tied up with the bomb wire, maybe, but also it's got maybe razor wire or barbed wire with it or something. So, but either way, Bucky's not in a good place.
Yeah.
So, and also the whole time this comic's going on, like we said, we're getting narration by a future Steve Rogers who's talking about, oh, when you died, Bucky, it was so sad and I miss you, bud, and all this stuff. So like it's building up to what I think is going to be the death of Bucky Barnes.
Yeah, I really am assuming here, like, oh, Red Skull really is about to kill Bucky. Like this is like horrible.
Or like something's going to happen, kind of like when Gwen Stacy, Cap tries to save him and then his neck breaks, or whatever. We don't know. But like, and also this is, like I said, in the context of what's going on in Marvel in 2007. So we know Bucky becomes Winter Soldier. So is it going to tie into that? Well, spoiler, no, it doesn't. So they could have done a really easy tie into this. So we get some really fun looking panels with like Zeppelins and the Eiffel Tower and a crazy looking, like he looks like the Joker almost, like his face with the laughing Red Skull. It's a very, very animated, very good looking. And like I said, each one of his Tim Sale's art in each of these color, actually in all of his art, like whatever book he's doing, you could tell it's Tim Sale, but each one has its own feel and like distinct look, which I really appreciate. It's kind of like the true master, is at work here. So Cap, which I thought was awesome. He rides his bike up the Eiffel Tower. I don't know how he rides a motorcycle, but that's Harley Davidson, goddammit. It's American-made motorcycle. It rides up the side of the Eiffel Tower and is able to jump from the Eiffel Tower onto a blimp by riding up. Let me say that again. He rides up the Eiffel Tower, which is like 400 feet tall or something.
So, to be fair, the bottom is, it's curved up a little bit. So
right to a straight vertical. To a straight
if you're I'm just saying, physics. You're going fast enough and you hit that.
Right. So of course, Red Skull is it's kind of like Rocketeer, where he's just like on the top of the blimp. He's not inside of it.
They're always fighting on top of blimps and things.
There's like a cab that the blimp just lifts up, right? It's not like you sit inside of the actual blimp, because that's full of like helium or hydrogen at this time or whatever. So actually, no, it would have been helium probably then. But yeah, it's like you don't want to just be on top of it.
You were just right on top of this.
Yeah, it's thin fabric, around a frame. So
yeah, I can't even imagine you getting a good footing.
Right. And so then we cut back to, as Cap is beating up Red Skull and freeing Bucky, we cut back to the rebellion guys who are captured by the Nazis, and also it's the platoon of soldiers like Dum Dum Dugan and Fury and everybody. So they're captured by the Nazis, and the Nazis are like, we'll just kill them. And I guess that wasn't part of the plan with Bartok. I guess he was just going to let him go. Yeah. And it wasn't like he was joining siding with the Nazis to be a Nazi. He was just siding with them because I guess they tricked him and said, like, well, if you tell us what's going to happen with your guy, like where they're going to attack, we'll let your troop go. Yeah. And like that was the deal. So it wasn't like he was evil. He was just a double crosser. He's an idiot. That's what he is. So when the Nazis are like, we'll just kill everybody here, the Bartok's like, no, and like jumps in front of the bullets as they're shooting at him, and it kills him, but doesn't kill the rest of the Nazis. And then Nick Fury's platoon is able to get the better of them and kill them or whatever. I guess take them out. I don't know. Yeah,
beat them up and tie them up, Matt. Come on.
Yes, totally. Well, that was the other thing. They mentioned that the ones that they left in the woods tied up, the gypsies were like, or the revolution guys were like, fuck them, and threw them over a cliff.
Oh, that's right.
So they actually did talk about murdering them and everything. And they're like, they're fucking Nazis. Who cares? And Cap's like, the vapors. Like,
but the Americans didn't do it. That's what matters.
Yeah, right.
We didn't do any
because we have morals.
Bad stuff. We do. We never do anything.
Yeah, we never do anything wrong. Anyway, so then we cut back to the blimp where Cap and Red Skull are fighting, and Bucky has kind of gotten free of his bindings, and there's still a bomb, but there's still dynamite. Red Skull lights the dynamite, and it's just kind of like large clumps of dynamite, like almost Acme level dynamite sticks or whatever. So. And he lights it, and then Bucky is able to cut, because once again they're standing on top of the blimp, the skin of the blimp, and so Bucky takes his little knife and he cuts like a long hole through the fabric, and then Red Skull falls into the fabric. I guess he wasn't looking where he was walking, and he falls through and drops the bombs inside of the blimp, and then
big explosion.
Yeah, big explosion as Cap and Bucky jump off the blimp and then are able to survive. I don't quite know how. It just shows them balled up with like Cap's holding Bucky balled up like in like a fetal position.
Yeah, and I guess they hit some kind of like tarp or something.
I guess. I don't know. I don't.
Oh, it's a big top, like kind of tent.
Oh, that's right, because they're circus folks, so they have a giant tent that they set up. Knowing that, I don't know how long it takes to set up a big tent. There was a lot of Deus Ex Machina stuff in this, where just shit would show up when it needed to make the story keep going, and it wasn't fully there. But basically, at the end of it, Bucky's like, "Yay, we got him, Cap!" And then Cap gets to make out with Marilyn because she's like, "I'm a gypsy, you're American, we love each other," and then they make.
Yeah, it was interesting.
They get over their anger towards each other. It turns out Bucky was right. Basically, she does like him, but yes. And then Sergeant Rock earns, or I guess Cap has earned Sergeant Rock's respect.
It's Fury's respect. He said Sergeant Rock.
Sorry, Fury's. Yeah, I'm sorry. There's so many, I'm still DC.
Yeah,
I'm thinking DC. So, yeah, Sergeant Fury, Sergeant Fury's respect, and so that's kind of like. Then they ride off and have many more adventures.
Yeah. Like they have. Yeah, literally says it's like 4 years. Like that was the end of that, and then they stayed in Paris for a couple more months, and then they literally it was like 4. And then
Bucky
he says
and Cap had adventures for
4 years before
Bucky
he went
died.
into ice.
Oh yeah, before. So they don't even show Bucky dying or say how he died or anything. They just say it was 4 years, and then I was in ice, and then I woke up, modern day.
Yeah,
and then it shows Cap with Nick Fury at the cemetery, and you see a memorial statue for Captain America and a memorial statue for Bucky Barnes, and
it is young Bucky, and we did see when Fury first had him out, he shows him a Medal of Honor that Bucky had won.
Right.
Post was that
post-mortem?
Yeah, post-mortem. Thank you.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't know what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So we do know something happened to Bucky, but we don't know what happened when he died. Was it an old man? Was it?
Well, obviously it wasn't old age. If you won it, well, I guess you could win a Medal of Honor if you just if you had leukemia and died or something, and then they're just like, well, you were a good soldier, so
Medal of Honor.
Yeah, I mean, you just defeat Red Skull.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like he gets it, but they don't say how or why. Or it's not like Winter Soldier where he's dying in the middle of a mission, like in Captain America where he dies. So. It's kind of like, what? Like, what happens? Like, why? And then Cap is just like, yeah, I'm sad you're not here, James, or whatever. And it's kind of like...
And then he destroys his statue.
Yeah, Cap destroys Cap's statue. He throws a shield at it, and Sergeant Fury, or I guess it's Nick Fury now, is like, why'd you do that?
Taxpayers paid for that.
Yeah. You know how much that costs?
I did like that.
It's a government job, so it costs at least 3 times more than it normally would privately. Yeah. So... So I don't know. It was just weird that he did that, and then he just rides off like, "This is for you, buddy."
And all I have left are the memories of a young man who only wanted to win the war.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. I was thinking. This is what I was telling John this earlier. Like, what if it ended with him being like, and there's this new bad guy, and it shows the Winter Soldier, and it says. But I really wish you were here because I feel like you would be really we'd be able to do it together or tag team this guy or whatever.
That's true. Just a single page of that even would have been
because then it would be like, oh, we know what's gonna happen, wink wink, or whatever. And I don't know, it's like I don't know if I can do this without you, bud, or whatever, like something like that. And then also, how about you actually show what happened to him? Like I don't know, just say that he died doing this or whatever. Like at least we would know. I don't know. It just feels unfinished, or like there wasn't like a real ending to it.
Yeah, this like we were saying, this one really didn't feel. It felt like it kept starting to go somewhere, and like you thought maybe it felt like it was going one way, and then it didn't. So like I feel like you said, all the bad guy stuff was solid. We knew what the bad guys' plans were, knew what they were doing. But like every time like Cap made a decision or Cap and Bucky had like a point of doing something, like it didn't feel like there was like a payoff of where it was going.
Yeah.
So especially with
especially like all the other ones.
Yeah.
All the other ones have like a reason for the like letters and like there was no like why is he writing this letter to Bucky other than him being dead? It's like it seemed like you had adventures, you had maybe not closure, but you didn't see him die. You didn't have that sadness that like Daredevil had finding Karen Page dead, from drug overdose, or Hulk, whatever. I can't remember what he goes through, but just in general, him being sad that he's turned into Hulk or whatever. So like, or like that he'll never love Betty. Right. Yeah. So like, or he will never get Betty as like a monster or whatever. Like there's that sadness.
Yeah. Because he scared her. Like,
yes. So I don't know why he would need to feel like that if he just froze and then woke up. I guess not having had the time he could have had with Bucky that makes him sad. Like, I wish you were here because I was frozen and I wake up like I didn't lose any time, but you're not here.
Yeah.
But they didn't do a good job of explaining that. So I didn't really feel that or understand that. I'm only processing that now as we're talking about it. Like, oh, I guess maybe that's what it is. But it wasn't explicit. It's kind of like you have to like put those puzzle pieces together in your mind. So I don't know. I just felt like it could have been better written, and I don't know. Did you look at any of the extra material in the back of this?
Yeah, I looked through all like the art and stuff.
Okay, so there's one page of like extra material in this that I thought was awesome because we go on and on and on about Tim Sale being awesome and how awesome he is, and there's pages of Captain America that he submitted to Marvel in 1980 that aren't dog shit, but they definitely make me go, if I was a kid wanting to learn how to draw and I see Tim Sale now and I go, wow, I'll never be that good. Well, remember, kids, y'all start somewhere. And he submitted these pages to Marvel, and he definitely wasn't ready for Marvel then.
No.
So, but it's good. You get to see like the progression of in 5 years, he was then working at DC. You know what I mean? Like, so it's hope for like your art or whatever. Remember, just because you see those people now and they seem so good and like amazing, they weren't always that good. They were once a kid just like you, or a young person just like you, trying to draw whatever you want to draw, and it was looking wonky, and they were trying to figure it out. All it takes is practice, kind of thing.
That's true, and really for art, I will definitely say on that too. Like, I mean, pretty much any kind of art, practice makes perfect, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah, you got to practice. You got to put in 10,000 hours.
So, like every comic artist that we have had, the pleasure or like of like looking at their material on this, like the amount of like ones that I've actually like noticed being like, oh, I really like that, and like I know their names now, or the ones that were like you said, man, but like just to see the like all the different styles and all the different types, and then think about like all these different ones that came before them and like who influenced them, and then so on, and like now we've been reading this era of comics for the most part, like, well, now all these people are getting old, so like they're going to have people replace them, and hopefully art is one thing as far as like a physical like drawn or a created piece of imagery, as opposed to the art of the like storytelling as well in the written word. So like this one, because like we've really enjoyed this team. This is the first time like I was like, I feel like Jeff Lowe I didn't get the story as well in this one as I did with like the art.
Yeah.
So, but in general, I get what I'm getting at with all this long-winded talk as I do is that, yeah, it's like, work hard, and yeah, like you never know, like you could be doing like mediocre art now. Like you can look at a picture and be like, I can kind of draw that, but like you never know. Like keep working at it. If that's something you really want to do
working
for real.
You can achieve your dreams.
Exactly.
And this is the TED Talk from John.
Yes.
Don't give up on your dreams, folks.
That's right.
Yeah, but I mean, that's just a general rule. Just keep practicing. You will get better, and you will be able to, at least if you keep practicing, you will get to a level that you can draw or do your art at a certain level, hopefully enough to where you want to be. But yeah, so that's this book. What would you give it, John? What did you like?
So overall, again, the art is definitely gonna keep this above our threshold level, our hush level. Because again, Tim
Hush
Sales
had really good art too, though.
It did have really good art,
also by Jeff Loeb.
Yeah. But that was Jim Lee.
Jim Lee on
right?
that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, who was also fantastic art. But I think I do have a soft spot. And I really do like something about Tim Sales art. It's good stuff.
Well, I know his Catwoman is amazing.
Yes. We know you're gonna ask him to make measurements for you're sending me your wife's measurements.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm gonna need this drawn out for her so we can get this.
I need to
made.
make this cat suit for Halloween.
For Halloween.
Yeah, for Halloween.
But yeah. So Tim Sale is amazing as always, and then I liked a lot of elements of the story, and again, being such a big Cap fan, like where it got the Cap elements right, it got them right, and I loved it. And especially, like I said, like Red Skull was really cool. He's very evil, very much like he even said something about like Hitler wants to blah blah blah, but like I want to make you all like fall to your knees and like worship and so like it was very Red Skull.
Yeah.
So yeah, like the things it got right, it got really right, and like just like I've before him with his, he's been doing little check boxes, but just like the notes on Cap with it, and again maybe he was pulling more of that influence from the older stuff, which it is fine, but it's just like that's not like the essence of where Cap has been. I feel in the last like 30 years.
Yeah, it's definitely
it's
golden
harder,
age Cap.
Yeah, so it's harder to. I guess it's harder for me to like. To feel as gung ho about like going back to the to that. So overall, I would say I would give this one a 6.
Okay.
6.5 for the art.
Okay.
Yeah.
You
my first point.
You're very generous, John. I feel like I gave some of the other ones a 6.5 or a 7. So I can't in good like to me this is literally it's not as bad as Hush writing.
I'm giving it a 6. I go back.
No, you already said it. You can't go back. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
You can't triple stamp a double stamp. Okay. Yes, 6.5. Pushing that with Tim Sales art.
Okay, there you go. So yeah, I'm gonna give this one because I think it is better written than Hush. I feel like because Hush was like a mess of non-making sense. So and the art was solid as well in this. So I'm gonna give it a 5.5. I think it's fine. Like it will be a good introduction, like you said, to Golden Age Cap because I have a suspicion, I might be wrong, that Golden Age Cap is kind of unreadable, like a lot of Golden Age stuff or whatever. Yeah. Especially if you've never read Golden Age stuff and you don't have like a fondness for it. Going back and reading some of those older comics, you're just kind of like, whoa, this is really hard to read and really boring or whatever. Or like I can only see some of the art through these word panels or whatever, or these word bubbles and dialogue balloons and everything. So yeah, like I feel like if you wanted to get that feel, maybe this would be a good like, hey, this is up that alley. Like it touches on what the Golden Age Cap was kind of like, and you get like the little Avengers stuff in it and everything, and you get like a really good Red Skull. So yeah, I feel like that's what this would be good for. But I would never like, hey, you know what you should read if you like Captain America? This. I would not recommend this to someone like who has never read Cap and wants to read it. So,
no, I agree, and you definitely like where the other ones did hit the points of like the other ones hit the points of the origin stories as well.
Yes, yeah, I thought this one would too, and it didn't. You're right. This was just kind starts
of like,
right as Cap's already Cap.
Yeah, this is Cap. He's Cap, and he's has something happen. With
this is more of an origin of Bucky.
Yeah. That's
what this is, which is a little weird because it doesn't have a full arc of Bucky.
Nobody likes you, Booster. I'm kidding. No, nobody likes. This is that era of where you have that sidekick where it's like Robin isn't cool yet. Bucky isn't cool yet. Like they're not like you get the kid readers for those. Yes, it's like, oh, I can be Cap's sidekick.
I guess
maybe
that was the theory.
Yeah, that was the theory, or at least. But like, yeah, when I read those, I'm like, oh, this fucking kid's annoying.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
G. Willikers.
Yeah, exactly. Watching that the old
Look out, radioactive man.
Exactly.
The goggles do nothing.
Do nothing.
Yeah. So yeah, I feel the same. Like it just, I don't know. This one, it just doesn't hit the same way as the other ones were. I feel like if someone was like, hey, what's a good Daredevil to read, like the origin, I would just give him Daredevil Yellow. Be like, and this would catch you up with a big chunk of what was going on in the main storyline of that comic during that time, the main line of comics. And then same with Hulk, you could just be like, hey, read this. It's like the origin story of Hulk. And you get to know who Betty is, and it's like early Hulk. So, you
get Thunderbolts in it. So.
Exactly. So, I don't know. I feel like those are better than this to give to someone. And yeah, so in good conscience, I can't give this more than a 5.5 because I feel like the story was weak compared to those, and I wouldn't give it to someone to read. But the art was great. So,
that being said, we are still going to finish the series. We're going to read Spider-Man Blue.
Spider-Man Blue is the last one of this color series.
We're not reading it next. It's on the it'll come
the list somewhere.
It'll come down the road. But we might not jump to it as quickly now as we.
Yeah, this took a little steam out of the Jeff Loeb, Tim Sale stuff.
Yeah,
so, not the Tim Sale side of that though. But yeah, and I think this was the last one to come out. All the other ones came out before this, so maybe that's why too. Maybe they wanted to change it up because they didn't want to follow the same format or whatever. But
I can see. You know what? Art is in the eye of the beholder, and how dare we question this also, is perfect in their eyes.
You know, as always, if this is your favorite comic, good for you.
Yeah,
read it, love it, buy it. We don't have a problem with you or anything. You know?
I have some comics that I know Matt hates, and I have loved and enjoyed, and. I can't say there's any of his I hate because every time he's like, "Oh, read it," I'm like, "Oh, okay, that was really good." I can't believe I didn't read that yet.
Thank you. I have great taste.
Yes, I will give him credit there that so far, Matt has not.
I'm sure there's comics that I like that you wouldn't like. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but like I'm sure there's got to be ones that I at least enjoy reading. Like, oh, I like Spawn, and you might not like Spawn, or like stuff like that. So we just haven't read them yet.
Yeah.
So. Speaking of, we should totally read Spawn.
I know you're all in on Spawn.
I'm all in on Spawn now. I never thought I would be one of those people, and I am all in on Spawn now.
Matt's like, I want all the toys. I want all the.
I don't know about the toys, but I'm definitely in on the comic Spawn. So, but yeah, so that is Captain America White. John gives it a 6.5. I give it a 5.5. Next week, what are we reading, John?
Next week, we're gonna dip our toe into the Moon since Moon Knight has come out on Disney Plus.
We're just a week behind.
On that. So we thought we would go ahead and we would check out Moon Knight's origin, and kind of tie that in and see how we, because Moon Knight's just starting out, so we can catch up with it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of different Moon Knights that John looked up that were like, oh, this is a great run. This is a great run. But you got to start with the beginning on some of these. So we're gonna read from the Epic Collection Volume 1.
Okay, that's right.
Moon Knight issues 1 through 4. So the original series of Moon Knight, the first 4 issues. And just see how it is. I mean, what's the origin of this guy? How does it go? And, maybe for fun, I'll read some of the, if I like it, I'll read like the actual origin, because he actually first appeared in the comic series Werewolf by Night, which was like the horror line in Marvel. And that's just the name. It's kind of like, Mysteries in Space. Or it's like,
which I found out they're going to do a Halloween special on Disney Plus of that.
Cool.
Sorry.
Yeah. And I haven't watched the show yet. I want to watch the show, so I'll get to that. But I'm interested in Moon Knight just because I want to see what he was like originally in the comics, and from what I understand, like Bill Sienkiewicz does the art, and it's early Bill Sienkiewicz, so he doesn't look quite as crazy as he does later on. But I mean, he's a fantastic artist. So you have seen him ink The Question.
Okay.
He inked the question art from Dennis Cohen, who did the pencils.
Okay.
So. He still does. They actually work together on the newest Question book that was out.
Oh, that's fun.
So, yeah, they're buddies. So
that's cool. We'll come back to that.
Yeah. So it should be fun. It should be interesting. We'll see how it is. But yeah, just in case you guys want to find those issues and read along or whatever, that's what we're reading. Issues 1 through 4 of the 80s original Moon Knight series. I think it's the 80s. It might be the late 70s, early 80s. With that being said, if you guys have any comments, questions, or suggestions, you can email us at planestrainsandcomicbooks, all one word, @gmail.com.
And don't forget about our Instagram, Twitter, YouTube channel for exclusive content. And if you would like to support us, we have our coffee. That's get us a cup of coffee. It's ko-fi.com/Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word. It catches you up on the week. It lets you know all the specials that Matt put out on YouTube. Lets you know what our big end of the week episode like this was if you didn't catch it from last week.
Yep.
It's a good way to sign up. If only that to support us, that you sign up, let you know what we're all doing. If you feel that you could donate, you can throw some our way that we can, make sure our storage is good to go, bring extra content down the road.
Yeah.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. And one of the tiers you can do is it's called the blue and gold tier. And we have a special, what's that called? A perk. A perk?
Yeah,
Is that what it's called? Whatever. You get to, if you subscribe to that and you become a member on the blue and gold, you can suggest a book to us. As of right now, it's monthly. So if you want to tell us a book to read and you want to sign up because we haven't missed or we haven't got to the book you want us to read, you could sign up for that and we will read it for the most part, unless there was some really weird something that we were like, no. But for the most part, I can't imagine there's something, maybe some like weird adult comic. Although we could throw that in there.
We could, yeah. I guess, yeah. We all
got a pretty open mind, so we're pretty open to doing.
I don't think we've read comics about like dogs, and I was gonna say.
I was like, what?
Some of the manga we've read has been really out there.
Yes.
We'll just say that if you've never listened to our manga issues.
Yes, Fire Punch.
Yes,
we'll just say Fire Punch.
Fire Punch.
Yeah, if you want, and that was at my request. So, so if you have something that you want us to read, I know Otaku Mike is one of our subscribers to that, and he has suggested Battle Pug and the one we did a couple weeks ago, Five Ghosts. So we try to stay on top of that and at least do like one a month as he recommends them. So that could be you if you want to. And of course, I always do my Hellblazer minis. So if you want to know more about Hellblazer and you like the Swamp Thing. Matt's minis, I do a Hellblazer one where I'm reading every issue of that and posting them for you to download, so you can get a second podcast that's a minis as well.
That is only for subscribers.
And it's only for subscribers, and it's only on Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/Planes, Trains, and Comic Books, all one word. All one word.
All one word.
And yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
On the next one.
Bye.